movement, flow. What's your style? How do you like to do it? I am actually naturally a very twisty climber. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm long or because I'm weak, or I don't know. But a really useful technique is using your hips straight onto the wall and rocking over. So it's basically flexing out your legs rather than twisting your torso. It's good on verts and slabs. Yeah, it means you're balancing on your feet and keeping your weight on your feet and not depending on your arms all the time. A good way of thinking about this is where your hips are pointing. In our workshop, our coaches made us think about if our hips had lights on them, where those lights would be pointing. So at the moment they're pointing straight on like a car. Here they're pointing this way, this way. So when you're doing a kind of rocking over style of climbing, you're keeping your headlights facing forward, if that makes sense.
And here you can see Wan utilising that balance we did in the last episode. And how does that help you on the wall?
Creates a lot of stability. It's quite a stable way of climbing. You do have to kind of trust your feet and your ankle and your knee, like all that has to be quite engaged and stable, your butt. Yeah, it's quite, you're flexing out your knees, but there's a lot of leaning, you know, you're kind of shifting your weight and you're moving your hips in the direction that you're going to move in or want to move in.
Yeah. And that way you're closer to the hold you want to be in.
It's using that lean and the hip staying straight into the wall to get closer to your destination. I find it really hard to not twist, so it's actually quite good practice for me to have like a stable torso and a stable core instead of just like woo, big or floppy.
Yeah, you should just see her walk around. Her walking around is just like
Right, so one way to stay, to move efficiently on the wall is by twisting. So you're keeping your center of gravity above a leg at all times, so you don't like, whoa, and then fall. And if you're twisting, your headlights are gonna turn, as your hip turns. You wanna turn, and then your center of gravity is above this leg. Center of gravity. You're moving efficiently, you're not relying so much on your arms to pull as much as you are your legs to push you. That makes sense. Yeah. So if I was using my arm to pull and not rocking over, if you're just using your arms, then you're going to be climbing with your arms, and that's going to be so tiring for you. Instead, if you want to keep your arms straight, maybe just twist. Look at that. Oh, just cruising. Just cruising.
Di is ill.
I'm so ill. You've got a little chalk on your lens.
Oh. When you get to an overhang, this stuff really kind of kicks in. And if you're maybe find overhangs quite tricky, learning how to twist can really, really aid in getting yourself up there, because it means you're taking some of the pressure away from your arms. Let's look at some twisting on an overhang. So watch my hips, think about where they're pointing. There's such a pressure to do this well. Oh fuck. But yeah, have a go. If overhang you find really tricky, just think about twisting.
Cool. And if you're crabbing it on the wall, if you're crabbing on the wall and you try and lift yourself up in a crab position, all your center of gravity is like pulling you down away from the wall. It's gonna be harder than if you twist yourself. And look at that, her hips are on the wall. She's like holding herself in. It's so easy, efficient.
Kind of, I'm tired now. Have a go go at these, pick a, you know, kind of simple, easiest climb on a vert, have a go at doing different things, then maybe move that to something on an overhang, just have a play around, have a think about what your hips are doing, and it might, yeah, you never know, it might teach you something cool. What can I say? Learning is fun.
Stay in school, kids.
Woo!